Now, there will still be some patients who, their melanoma can't be completely resected, and maybe Keytruda plus this new therapy can help those people, maybe even cure some of them, but that's a patient that has a really diverse population of cancer cells.
Hello.
This is important to remember. Not only are different patients, do they have very different cancers from each other, even if it's the same kind of cancer, like melanoma. An individual can have populations of cancer cells that are different from each other. They're going to be descended from the same cell. They might share a lot of reliance on certain traits. They might share a bunch of mutations that are going to be displayed on the surface of the cell. But if you have a really big population of cancer cells, there's going to be a lot of diversity, and that's going to allow for those cells.
I tried to go to work.
Of being able to escape.
It was ridiculous.
Which is in general why it's so much better to catch cancer early. Is one of the reasons.
It's not a work day for me.
The population gets, the harder that population is to sort of
I actually had to think to press that button. Wow. Thinking is too much for me.
There's more, and it's better, and it's not going to come out for a year, so you'll have forgotten all this. So you know the overall survival of Keytruda patients with resected.
Oh, you think I would forget?
But you want to keep these trial participants.
You think I would forget?
Their overall survival numbers, but you can't get until that time passes. You can't.
Next.
You don't know what the 5-year overall survival is until.
Well, at least that commercial is silent. Like the P. What? The fuck?
Back to school season is officially here, and I'm getting everything ready for the new school.
You love those commercials that have a bunch of whistling in it. I can only hear her S sounds. It's the loudest thing in the commercial. Clearly.
Results for this. So if you look at the smaller trial that they did for phase 2, 49% reduction in the risk of recurrence or death, which is huge. That's amazing. And a 59% reduction in the risk of distant metastasis or death, that's great. That's in comparison to people getting Keytruda, which already was a substantial leap forward in treating melanoma. The big question is not, does this work? It obviously does. The big question is, to what extent will therapies like this work in other kinds of cancer? So melanoma is poster boy for this specific kind of therapy because it has such a high mutational burden. It's going to have a bunch of these weird C-flags.
How did I know that would be the case?
Because it's going to be making a bunch of weird proteins. So that gives us a ton of potential neoantigens to put into the mRNA vaccine. The question is, would this work for a cancer that has a lower mutational burden, which is pretty much every cancer outside of melanoma? Now, there are others that, immediately, so in general, the ones that are well-treated checkpoint inhibitors, we'd say immediately we should be testing to try and see if we could do similar things for those kinds of cancer, for example, lung cancer in smokers. So lung cancer in non-smokers has a lower mutational burden, but lung cancer in smokers, because they've been exposed to so many carcinogens, tend to have a high mutational burden, tend to respond well to Keytruda, and so could potentially be a great opportunity for this. But other cancers have much lower mutational burdens, like pancreatic cancer, for example. The reason I am excited about this, the thing that I haven't really seen people talking about in the frame of this news, is that we have a trial. It was very small. It was 16 patients, but it was a very similar thing. It was a stage 1 trial, so it wasn't randomized.
That's not bad.
Therapy. They didn't put anybody else in therapy. 4 pancreatic cancer patients. And they did a very similar thing. This was BioNTech, not Moderna, and they created individualized cancer vaccines.
Alright. Oh, we already started. Whoops.
That the cancer had after so after a surgery. And of the 16, weirdly, 8 of those people did not mount an immune response at all to the vaccine. So their body just kind of didn't notice it existed, and those people had normal outcomes, by which I mean bad. But the other half, the 8 people who did mount an immune response, they had much better outcomes. I don't have that study in front of me, so I can't tell you exactly.
No 23 elsewhere.
I remember this. I'm editing this video, and I just wanted to give a little more context around the pancreatic cancer thing that I was mouthing off about. So a couple of things. First, confirmed, the people who mounted an immune response had much better outcomes than the people who didn't. 60 people in the study, 8 responders, 8 non-responders, which...
Wow, this is going fluidly.
But more importantly than that, one, there were no stage 4 patients in this trial because they all had to be people who could have all of their cancer removed, which was pancreatic cancer.
Right.
Stage 4 situation, you can't cut it all out. It's too much of a mess in the gut. In fact, having it be surgically removable at all is a rare situation with pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer, one of the reasons it's so dangerous is that it's often diagnosed late. You can steam in the gut, you don't get a lot of symptoms. Your symptoms, I shouldn't say this because it's terrifying, but your symptoms are basically tummy problems. And we all have tummy problems. And I looked this up. 20% of pancreatic cancers are able to be completely removed.
So 7,
and it might not only be
2.
useful in the adjuvant setting. We don't know. But in this case, the only thing we tested for was whether it was useful as an adjuvant after complete resection with no evidence of disease after surgery. So they had stage 1, 2, and 3 patients in here. So when I first heard about this study, I was imagining like pancreatic cancer patients as
so not 5, 4, or not 4, 6, so 5, not 4, 6, so 9.
Subset and a subset for whom we already had much better prognosis than the average pancreatic cancer patient. Okay, thank you for coming to my mini TED Talk inside of my larger ramble. Okay, bye. So we have this proof that this can really have a really great outcome in melanoma patients. 6 months ago, and I didn't do that. But so it can be that unsurprising. But the fact that it might work in pancreatic cancer is wild.
Not 4, 6, not 4, 6, so 5.
Trial, if it would work in pancreatic cancer, which has a much lower mutational burden than melanoma on average, and also ever. I mean, melanoma has so many mutations, it's crazy. Then you can expect that this therapy wouldn't do what a lot of cancer treatments do, which is like, oh, we found this new potential therapy.
4, 6, 1, 4, 6, 9, 6, 9.
It works really well with that. Let's try with everything else, and then it doesn't work very well.
How can I be stuck now? That's ridiculous.
Sort of like
Okay, not 4, 6, not 4, 6 equals 1. Not 4. Not 6.
So with this therapy, the one thing it would clearly be
9.
is melanoma, specifically in combination with Keytruda. But if you have a kind of cancer that's hiding from the immune system in different ways, and there are a bunch
and Cascade.
glioblastoma, for example, hides from the immune system a bunch of different ways, so I wouldn't expect it to work well here, though there are also trials with glio. So maybe somewhat unsurprisingly, it's working really well in the kind of cancer you would expect it to work pretty well. But then, in addition to that, you have it maybe working in a pancreatic cancer, which is a
Nice.
for a kind of cancer that this therapy would be good at. That's super.
8, 4, or 9, 8, 9, 4. Never mind. I thought I saw something, but it was the wrong number.
Really high for stage 3. So we have the stage 3 proof.
Got really enthusiastic for a second.
And then we have the stage 1 evidence that's not super strong. That it might work in a cancer that isn't really the ideal candidate for this kind of therapy. That's exciting. But I can't help. So there was
Oh my god, there's no information.
And it looked at non-small cell lung cancer patients who got on checkpoint inhibitors. So they took Keytruda, and this one is what's called an observational study. So it's not like
so that's only 2 places one can go there. That doesn't help enough. This is here.
The specific thing in question was before some people got
4. Okay, 4, 6, 9. This is true. 4, 6, 9, and 4, 6 are all a triple, so they can't be elsewhere in the column. So not 4, 9. And not 4, 9, 6. I mean, you could have also said 7, 5, 7, 5. Same rules apply.
So the question is, could it be that the mRNA package itself has
7, 5, 7, 5 equals not 7.
Checkpoint inhibitors. So that's the kind
not
of
7.
check for
In the box.
check in mice, and so they
7, 5.
and they found that in the mice getting mRNA.
The mice are
with the
dejected?
COVID vaccine inside of it, or with some
Sad
other kind
mice.
of mRNA package. And both of those circumstances, it seemed to help.
One.
And they were able to uncover some mechanistic reasons why. So what do you do in that situation? You do a randomized human test.
No 9 elsewhere in the row.
Phase 2 test. It's got 500 people in it.
No 4 elsewhere in the row.
Small cell lung cancer.
Also.
Half of them get the standard of care, which is Keytruda and chemotherapy. Half of them go to the pharmacy before they get their Keytruda. That trial is starting next month. And that
keep a look at these ones. They will pop up later. But
just getting any mRNA vaccine boosts the effect of Keytruda. You know, it's much easier to just give somebody
Lone 3 box.
Give somebody an mRNA package than it is to do this whole personalized cancer thing. But almost certainly, even if the package itself has an effect, so does what is inside of the package and what's getting displayed to the immune system.
D dot equals 9.
Way to boost Keytruda that doesn't require 8 weeks of manufacturing a personalized vaccine, which would also be good. I almost didn't include this in the video. It's an example of the kinds of things that you want to be on the lookout for. We want to do this particular thing, and it's working for, you know, not just the reason that we thought. It's working for an additional reason, which is just getting an mRNA vaccine at all might increase the effectiveness of Keytruda, which would not be something anybody expected. We do have some really early observational results and some not in human, in mouse results, and thankfully there's an actual randomized phase 2 trial
6.
really quick to test this. So good work to the people who are doing
Or no, that doesn't make sense. It's anywhere. It's something.
Like, what's happening is that these cancers are all very diverse from each other. They're all very different. Like a couple steps into precision with, you know, when you hear about triple positive breast cancer, there are different receptors on the outside of the breast cancer. It has all 3 of the ones that you might want to target, where triple negative has none of the 3 that you might want to target, and that's a worse situation. But if you aren't seeing one of those things that you can target, you're not going to give them that medicine. So that's like one step down the precision pathway, where you're looking at the specific cancer cells. And there are different population of humans who get these cancers. But this is different. This is like real precision, where we're saying we are going to train the immune system to go after these specific antigens that we know are likely being displayed on the outside of these cells. We don't know it for sure. That's what the machine learning algorithms are all about, trying to identify which things are going to end up on the outside of the cell. And that's also the thing that I think could definitely get better about this kind of therapy. Like if we are able to prove that you can get T cells access to these cells, and then that we can train T cells to look specifically for the cancer cells to take them out, then the thing that you want to get better at is identifying, like, what is the thing that's making these cancer cells look different.
Where am I going?
So how do we get better and better and better at identifying which neoantigens are going to be the things that are likely to be real
3 columns?
That the immune system
Irrelevant.
should learn, and if it learns, will help the patient clean up any distant disease. So it's really good. It's great news. I've seen it interpreted in some of the most infuriating ways I could imagine, but it's great news. It's very cool. And in some ways, I think it's cooler than people are saying. In other ways, no, it's not. Like, again, when you say
7.
things like a 59% reduction in the risk of distant metastasis or death, you're not saying 100% reduction in the risk of distant metastasis or death. Different patients with different stages are going to have those
Right.
be different. But those data will all be coming out relatively soon, and it's going to be very
If
it becomes something that works in a lot of different cancers, like I could see this being useful not for every cancer, but for a lot of different cancers. And it could potentially be less burdensome in terms of side effects, because a lot of people are given just like straight given a bunch of chemo as their adjuvant, and that can have a bunch of side effects. And you could also imagine us getting more and more precise with it so that the side effects get lower.
Ooh,
and lower.
6.
So it's extremely exciting. I'm very excited about it, and I've been told that people would like my thoughts on today's connection, so I'm going to play connections now. That was a longer video than I expected. Oh, what? No, it's just the picnic blanket pattern. I should ignore that, right? I feel like I should ignore that. Picnic basket, breeze, ants, all picnic things. Pickle also a picnic thing. It's a picnic. It's a cinch. It's a snap. It's easy. Pickle's the opposite of that. I was worried for a second that, like, red ones should be the opposite. If it was these, then it was like a picnic, a snap, and a pickle. But, like, if it's not red, then it's the opposite. And so a picnic and a pickle, like, it'd be easy or hard. But now I don't think that that's... There are 4 of these. Got 2 of each in it. Maybe that's
Well,
I don't know. Should I worry about that at all? Should I not think about it? Oh, jeez. Why did me to do that? I'm in trouble. Okay. If they're not changing, they're staying in the same place. Does it mean anything? I'm not going to get purple first, everybody, because they hit the wrong button. Obscure is to hide and mask. And blanket, yes. Yeah, blanketed. I think that's one of the meanings of blanket. Rio makes me feel like there's something, there's a word thing going on here, because I don't know, like nobody knows what that word means. Coco? Rio. These are Pixar movies? Misspelled! Rio, Coco, Soul. What's the other one? Or are they Pixar? I don't know. Whatever. Animated.
Hold on.
Ants.
Soul? I mean, Ants is a Pixar movie. What are you talking about? Hank, what are you doing? Isn't Hank's Pixar? Ants? Ants is Pixar. What?
Blanket, mask, hide, not hide or obscure.
Oh,
Mask,
that.
is it Ants with a Z? Is the title, is the name of that movie Ants with a Z? Okay, if it is, that would.
Yeah, but you would say ants because you won't say ants with a Z. That's too obvious.
Ants with a Z, everybody. Homophones of CGI animated films. I love it. I love connections, everybody. And football.
Homophones.
Basketball, baseball, pickleball.
You gotta love some momos. Phones.
The colors meant nothing. I've actually got a streak going, finally. I think I'm 10.
I never connections. I should maybe not ever do connections. Oh god, I'm stuck. What am I gonna watch? Earth's geology is insane. That sounds good. Destroying the planet in a simulation for science. Oh, he's playing one of those motion sickness warning. Whoops. Well, it's a good thing I won't be looking at the screen.
Guys, I have a confession to make. I am a planet Earth supremacist, and I'm done apologizing for it. Earth is the greatest planet in the universe. Every other planet is inherently inferior to us. Hoorah! Oh, what's this? Is that liquid water? You can bet your cute little carbon-based backside that it is. What's this? Milo, that's just a little chunk of wood. Wrong. This isn't just a piece of wood. This is one of the rarest materials in existence. There's entire planets made of diamonds. Them suckers ain't worth it.
There are trees in other planets. There just are. Somewhere. We just haven't seen them yet. Maybe.
But this bad boy right here, that's a planet Earth exclusive. Dude, who spilled all this water on the floor? Come on. Now, if you're anything like me and love this little blue rock as much as
I can't find anything. Help. I'm gonna pull a binary. I'm so stupid.
Why do some places have fossils, and what can they tell us about what the world was like millions of years ago? Why does this place have volcanoes, and why do they keep doing all that? Well, today, my friends, we're going to be answering those questions and many more. We're going to be having a look at 4 different landscapes and attempting to recreate them in a geologic simulation to learn more about this awesome planet. Howdy, friends. My name is Milo Rossi, and today it is my great pleasure to welcome you to, what is this? I don't know what this video is called. Come here, Schmitke. You are so dramatic. We're doing a green screen test. Come on. Green screen test? Oh, God. I hate when I do that, but you're so baby. 3.5 million subscribers, and I don't even have a green screen. That right there is an almost green bed sheet. Look at it, it's an almost green bed sheet. I know, fascinating stuff, right? I feel like that's pretty good. Maybe that one. Pantone 156310 TCX swamp color, or maybe it's Reseda. I'm feeling more of a Reseda with this one.
Are you kidding me? I have a green screen that's officially green screen, but it's just not got a display unit, so I can't use it except for as a cape or something, or an actual blanket. Yeah.
Who comes up with all these names? I want to meet the person whose job it is to come up with the names for paint colors. All right, everyone, look up. Selfie. let's go. Alright, so the first
I told you.
we're going to be simulating is
I told you that would come up, those numbers that I mentioned earlier.
To explain to you what Hawaii is, it's a chain of islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, like, really in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like, look at that. Ocean takes up half the damn planet. That's pretty unbelievable. Now, if there's one thing that comes to mind when you think about Hawaii, it's a beautiful...
Not 4, so 6.
...that is overrun by pasty sun.
By the way.
But if there is a second thing that you think of when you think about Hawaii...
Okay, we have found out that it is not the binary I originally picked. So let's try to remember where that binary is. So it's not 7 there. It's 3. There we go. We have discovered the truth. God damn it. Now what does that mean for me?
Magma bubbles up to the surface and then seeps and erupts out and creates these long flows which slowly build upon themselves, creating this sort of shield shape. So the island of Hawaii is actively growing. Now if we have a look at some of the other islands, you'll notice that they start to look a little bit different. The surface of this one is also pretty smooth, but there's less visible lava flows. And over here the landscape's a lot more jagged and you can't really see any recent lava flows. And this trend sort of continues as we move down the chain. That's because Hawaii is a hotspot volcano. This means that somewhere around here, deep beneath the ocean floor, is a massive plume of magma coming up from the mantle of the Earth. As it ejected more lava and that lava cooled, it slowly built up a massive mountain that has now reached the surface of the ocean. This is quite different than, say, these volcanoes along the Pacific coast of the United States, where these ones are the result of a plate slipping beneath North America, liquefying in the mantle and bubbling back up. Hawaii is the result of a hotspot that stays pretty much in the same place. No one's entirely sure what hotspots. One of my favorite theories is that they occur on the...
I thought he was going to play Universe Sandbox, to be honest.
The Earth is pretty much a gigantic water balloon, so you got to imagine when it takes a big hit, that energy has to transfer through the planet somehow. But here's the really cool part. You notice that all of these islands are in a chain, and this one seems more volcanically active than these ones. That's because this chain of islands that you're looking at here is the result of the Pacific Ocean plate moving across the hotspot. So this mantle plume doesn't move, but the plate above it does. And as it does, it keeps punching up new volcanoes. That's why this one is so smooth and has so much evidence of recent eruptions. But if we go all the way to the end of the chain, to the island of Kauai, we'll see how worn down and eroded it is.
Kauai?
The battle between tectonics and gravity. Massive tectonic forces in the form of a volcano pushed up this island just like the rest. But since the plate has moved and the hotspot is now way over there, this volcano is extinct. So now it's left in the hands of gravity and erosion and slowly returning to the sea, creating these incredible canyons and ridges and this very dramatic cliff-strewn coastline. Now that's pretty cool, but honestly it gets way more interesting than this, because if you can imagine that this hotspot has been active creating all of these islands, then I bet you can guess what's going to happen if we keep looking this way. You'll see that as we move west, the chain actually continues in a series of seamounts and coral reefs. Some of these just ancient undersea mountains, but others the remains of ancient Hawaiian islands that have fully eroded back into the sea. And this chain stretches for thousands upon thousands of miles, and around here it seems like it ends. Oh, but wait, it doesn't. It goes north. So what is this all about? Imagine this hotspot like you passing a piece of paper underneath a table, and as it moves, you keep punching a pencil up through it, and right into the palm of your hand. The pencil, in this case the hotspot, doesn't move, but the paper, in this case the Pacific plate, does. So this dogleg here is evidence that at some point a really long time ago, the Pacific plate, like, altered the direction that it was moving.
I just pulled a second, or whatever amount of binary randomness, and
Alright, speaking of erosion, the second simulation we're going to be looking at is, of course, the Grand Canyon. You guys can see that one coming probably a million miles away. There's actually a lot of canyons that are very similar to this all over the world, but I'm going with the Grand Canyon.
We're hoping I'm correct, otherwise I won't remember where the hell I came from. That's not part of the video. What the fuck? Bitch. 2. Mispressing the button. Oh, it's false. That's fucking awesome. Good to know, like 20 steps in. God fucking damn it.
Great, I'm talking to a door. Alright, so what the hell is the Grand Canyon? I mean, the name kind of tells you everything you need to know, but it's a big-ass canyon carved by the Colorado
So it's not whatever the fuck it was. So it's the other way around. So it's 5-7. Is that right? No, 7-5. That is 6. So it's 5-7. Weird. This one's breaking my rule of more information equals wrong. Ooh, plastic. Trying to find another thing I can pull out of my... Ah. God dang it. Trying to think of what else I can pull, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like brute forcing everything because I'm freaking lazy as shit. Battery's running out on the tablet. How long is this video? An hour? Okay. I'll start getting the other tablet. Yeah.
Alright, on to the third location. The Appalachian Mountains. The Appalachians are the oldest major mountain range on the planet. They were formed way back during the creation of Pangea, when continents collided and mountains were pushed up. Today the Appalachians may not look like much, but let me show you what they would have looked like back in the day. These are the Himalayan mountains and are a pretty good analogy for both the scale and formation process that the Appalachians would have had. India is on its own little continental plate, and it's always up to some crazy stuff. It went all the way across the ocean here in like record.
My God, I can't find anything.
And anyway, the Indian subcontinent collides with the rest of Asia, and at the boundary where they're colliding and pushing into each other, they push up the enormous Himalayan mountains, which is the largest mountain range, the tallest mountain range on the planet today. So this is what the Appalachians would have looked like, you know, like almost 300 million years ago or something like that. Today, this is, I believe, the tallest peak in the Appalachian Mountains.
This is probably false.
Carolina, or near Asheville, which is over there. And I'm going there on tour, by the way, this fall. So get your tickets; they're on sale now. I'm also going a bunch of other places: Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, Barnville, Virginia, Asheville, North Carolina, Atlanta, St. Louis, Omaha, Milwaukee, and Chicago. Those locations and their dates.
False.
And dates and locations for the Western.
So not 4994. Got it.
So if you want to come see some live debunking, get some Q, I should probably take this off. I'm not even looking here. So if you want to see some live debunking, do some Q&As, and see me do my whole thesis up on stage live in front of you, tickets are available now. So go check them out. Click it now. Open the link in another tab. It'll be there when you're done with this video, so you don't forget. Do it. Do it. Bring a friend. It'll be fun. Tell your friend, hey, there's this guy in town on YouTube, and he's going to be real. I think. We don't know. Real. Maybe I'm going to be like Hatsune Miku. Who's your favorite beach?
What the hell? Wait, I'm in another false? That's weird. I didn't... What in the hell? I didn't... I confirmed the other positions. How can I be false about all of this? This is the weirdest thing. I'm not distracted. It's the fact that I literally pulled the binary, was like, okay, this way's wrong. The other way is also wrong? That's not possible. Librarian? Dewdrops?
Agricultural hub never led to any problems, and we lived in unity forever. So anyway, we're going to simulate what happens when a gigantic
Oh my god.
range is weathered for an incredibly long time. All right, the fourth and final.
I hate this. My brain's not in it.
But way more fun. And that is
7.
Some of you, I could hear you go through the screen. You know what's coming. And that is, of course, the Chicxulub impact event. Impact structures are one of my favorite geologic features. You guys know that if you follow me on short form. I've made a lot of videos about them. But there's probably no
CEO Asher Sharma praised the live playthrough.
I'll be back. Yeah, scale doesn't matter. Yeah, Neil. Okay, again, 7575, right?
Yeah, that's the one thing about it. All the neighbors and the whole community just loved it.
It was not 7.
The Comcast like such a hard time passing it.
Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general. Has regularly been caught trespassing and then
Aww, he's like a puppy.
fish, and he's been known to just block roads while plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of it. Hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox. To plant himself directly in front of her fucking car.
Wow.
She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was kept
Little antenna.
for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story.
What the heck?
This is a lot of
That sound with a big blubber is so fucking funny.
He's like 5 years old. If you
Yeah.
wait till he's nearly 2 solid ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not know.
Is that real?
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, that. I thought he was fully grown.
No, that guy a baby. That guy's a cute little baby, but he's big. But oof, he's a baby. Dude, I haven't had sea greens in a minute, and I'm tasting sea greens still. What does that mean? I'm infected with green? Where the crap anything? Well, now I have different discovery, which is like, that's gotta be a little irritating.
Can I tell you something about short form content?
No.
It doesn't make any money. And the only things that I have go viral is when I say something people don't like. Such as my last Instagram post. The post was that a lot of men greatly overestimate our ability to fight. And that there's a large gap between people that say they know how to fight and people that actually know how to fight. And that if you land a good punch on the face, you're likely to break your hand. A bunch of comments from guys who felt personally offended. I punched someone and didn't break my hand. You're just a pussy. I don't understand that they don't get that it's like a self-help in two ways. Because, like, A, they're proving that they think they're tougher. And also that they punch like a bitch. Just hit the right spot in the face and you'll be fine. I'm like, you guys punching people that never move? You guys fighting people that never... It's usually something like that. A Zambian clap on either side of their ears. I'm just trying to fucking full suplex people all the time. Belly to belly. Can I tell you something about short form content?
Huh.
Here it is. Here it is. I don't know what that noise was. Yeah, I got one of these little guys. I will show you every little thing. It's so funny, bro. I'm rolling up on your mom like this. Oh. She liked my head. Yeah, this is a great idea. Dude, you know what I'm like? You know that Pokemon Executor? A Pokemon Executor. Dude, what if I start the debut like this? Hey guys! And then, like, I milk it for 20 minutes, like every VTuber back then did. It's like, whoa, look at my shoes. Whoa, look at my pants. Whoa. Yo, look at my outfit, my hoodie. Damn. And it's just like, oh, what's this? Oh, neck. I still feel like I would be bigger. Like, it doesn't feel like the art styles and shit. Like, this doesn't feel right. Nah, it's more like this. Yeah, I like this. I can still beat it up. Like, maybe 3 Joker Stone, 2 Joker Stone. It's annoying little dude.
I can't do a lot of that other stuff. Is this another... Oh, it is a person. Usually it's a clipper. Where is my everything?
You guys are so ridiculous.
Okay, back to the whatever this thing was blowing up.
Hello everyone, my name is Daniel, and this is a big urgent message, because I believe that August 27th could be it, and this post is going to get straight to you to show you all the scriptures and why we need to pay attention to the coming blood moon. So,
No. I'm gonna... Why am I getting religious crap? Get out of here. The fuck out of here. No one wants you.
Some of you,
Go away.
Go through the screen. You know what's coming. And that is, of course, the Chicxulub impact event. Impact structures are one of my favorite geologic features. You guys know that if you followed me on Twitter. I've made a lot of videos about them. But there's probably no meteor impact that's more famous than the one that killed the dinosaurs right here in the Gulf of Mexico. About 64 million years ago, a gigantic-ass rock hurtling through space landed somewhere right around here. Now, getting hit by a big-ass meteor is really bad on its own. But to add to it, it landed in a shallow sea, which created a gigantic tsunami. And as if that wasn't bad enough, what do you guys know the Gulf of Mexico for today, other than being called the Gulf of Mexico? Exactly. It's completely full of oil deposits. So this meteor created a giant tsunami and then instantly...
The only place 9 can go.
...ungodly amount of fossil fuels, which pretty much caused an apocalypse. I mean, it was the end of the world. We are the sons of rats that survived the end of the world. The impact structure itself is pretty hard to see today. In fact, you would never even really know it's there. I'm pretty sure that's just because this is a very sedimenty area. I don't really know if it has to do more with the structure or...
It's like Big Rock, but also the worst place to land.
Specialized, like, geologic equipment.
Crazy.
You can very clearly see the impact structure that's right here. So even though this one is...
So we won the lottery millions of years ago, I guess.
Because I want to launch a big-ass meteor at a planet, goddammit, okay? I know you want to see that too. And literally like a couple days before recording this, Terra Firma updated with the meteor impact beta, so I have to use it. I have to use it. Come on. Alright, those are all the simulations that we're going to run. I'm sure my face looks absolutely insane after wearing this thing from 100% battery down to 5. So I think think it's time to stop giving Mark Zuckerberg high-quality scans of my retinas and hop on over to the simulation. Here we are, everybody. Welcome to the wonderful world of Terra Firma 2. It's an excellent geology sim game that you guys saw if you watched my video on the Antarctic Pyramid.
Looking for any numbers at all.
End up looking like pyramids. Since making that video, I actually had a call with the dev of this game, who is awesome. And I know that after the last video, quite a few of you guys went to go check out this game for yourself. And I just want to thank those of you who either got this game or wish listed this game, because, you know, it helps out an artist who's working on a passion project that is a wonderful tool for science communication. I said it in the last video, I think that, you know, with a little bit of time and a little bit more TLC, this is the kind of game that you could literally use in like a classroom setting. And it's just damn fun, so the best type of education. Alright, anyway, let's get into it. We're going to start with our Hawaii map. This one's going to be a little bigger. We're going to go with one of the 66 by 66 kilometer maps. I'll mess with it. I don't really care about rainfall for this one, and it will be an igneous base. Wow, really exciting stuff here. As you can see, since the last time we did this, they added a water update. Look at that water physics, dude. Water physics. Alright, here we go. So now we got a nice little sea floor. It's a little bit... to start with. And it is thanks to the volcano feature that we're going to be able to demonstrate this. Currently, the simulation is obviously not complex enough that you can have, you know, a mantle plume and have the crust moving over it. So the way that we're going to kind of simulate this forming chain of volcanoes is by creating different volcanoes at different times and kind of stacking
Help.
them. The volcanoes are really cool and have some fun kind of detailed settings. Probably the most like technical of these is the lava type, where you can specify if you want your lava to be more mafic or more felsic. Mafic lava is very liquidy. What's the word? Viscous is the other one, right? It's aqueous. Aqueous? Less liquid. And felsic lava is a lot thicker and slower moving. Volcanoes with thicker felsic lava will build a lot taller because the magma doesn't flow as far. But the magma at the Hawaiian volcanoes tends to be a little bit more mafic, which kind of forms those broad sloping shield volcanoes.
That's still 6.
And we also have the duration, how
Interesting.
long the volcano is active for, which of course will dictate how big the volcano gets. As
Dick.
well as the lava flow, which dictates the frequency of eruptions and how quickly it will build on itself. And then the caldera, which only comes in at the very end.
So not 4-8. Whoops. I should have known that from earlier.
So for this, we're going to say our lava type, we're going to go a little bit more on the mafic side for the temperature. And how long are the Hawaii volcanoes active for? We're not going to be able to do an actual time span because it's just simulations of millions of years, but I want to get a rough idea. Alright, it looks like it can vary quite a bit. They can be active anywhere from 250,000 years all the way up to
This looks
but since we can increase the speed of erosion,
interesting.
we're going to just put it for 20,000 years and call it a day. And then we want a lot of magma, of course, just because we want it's fun. It's cool. I don't think any of the Hawaiian volcanoes that I know of have collapsed into calderas. They all seem pretty intact afterwards. So if there is a caldera, at least it's not quite as notable as it is in other places, you know, like Crater Lake or something like that. And so I'm going to just go with sorry if it's geologically inaccurate, but I won't visuals here. Alright, and with that, we're going to place our first volcano right here.
Defenders, welcome back. And if you've been following along with my videos for a while, you must have technical details, but videos, when we're going to are stacking.
This is not the video. False. Wait, what? Did I do a binary?
But right around the point that I added our second volcanoes, I realized you could do a topo view, so...
What the fuck? How did you manage that? Don't go to the video, I can see the bad.
I want you to look at that. Our first island has finally breached the surface.
Oh, it's not 5-7.
The first one had almost gone extinct, so I decided to make all of them be active for a little bit.
7-5.
What's kind of cool is you can actually see how steep these underwater
What?
volcanoes get. The underwater slopes are a lot steeper than the dry.
Okay.
This is a real phenomenon that we see with actual undersea volcanoes, and it happens for a few reasons. You know, like if magma is flowing underwater, it cools a lot quicker, so it can't.
That's still 6.
Builds a steeper cone. Where on the surface, lava can flow a lot farther before cooling.
Cones.
Our fourth island, I was getting pretty used to just adding sort of extra little volcanoes around it, so it wasn't just a perfect circle. This ends up giving us a lot more varied and realistic shapes of our islands rather than just perfect circles.
It's still 5.
As our islands get a little bigger, you can also kind of see the ecology begin to
3.
all of them just start as like a barren expanse of basalt in the middle of the ocean with no life on it.
Barren.
They would become stopovers for birds,
barren.
Lava flows destroying existing ecology before ecological succession reclaims that land for life once again. By the time
Success. Modular success.
finally gone extinct. Here you can see this island collapsed into a caldera, which I thought...
How is this possible? How? What do you mean? Ah! This is the weirdest freaking hard puzzle I've ever done. How is it possible? I can't fail this many times. This is not possible. This is still 6!
Even as these islands slip beneath the water,
Ah!
remain as islands. In the gigantic deep
Oh.
ocean, seamounts provide an isolated patch of low...
Oh, I'm so freaking, like, not okay.
allows for diverse ecosystems to form, and in real life, something like this...
And
right as we place our sixth and
these numbers are still a triple.
has gone extinct as well.
So not here, not there.
Caldera. While tectonics are still at work building our fourth island, our third island is now just subject to the forces of erosion.
And what the freaking hell is the answer then?
Our fourth island goes extinct as well. You can see that it has snow on top of it. Quite a height. This snow line doesn't change and it's consistent across the map. So as you watch it get smaller, what you're really looking at is the mountain peak eroding away. And finally, with only one volcano remaining active, let's have a look at what we've created. Ooh, who's got the fastest hand in the West, baby? You see that? Positive 100,001 years. I guess I don't have the fastest hand in the West. I probably got the second or third fastest hand, but that's still pretty impressive, and I'm gonna take a win. We are now 100,000 years from the beginning of our simulation. I think we can kind of turn down some of these things and look at this in just normal speed. The first islands to emerge have slipped beneath the waves many, many thousands of years ago. Now, if we move over to our third island, our oldest still above the water, we can see what these volcanoes look like in sort of the last stages of their life. This one has been extinct for many thousands of years and has been subject to...
Like, it can't be... one of these has to be right. I want to find out without using a binary ever. 'Cause I hate this. Skirt. That's a 3.
Our fourth island is enormous. I was getting a little excited with the volcano tour. It looks a lot like our fifth island, but as you saw just there, our fifth island is quite a bit taller, getting snow on the peaks of the mountains in the winter. Speed this up a little to see that happen. There you go. So even though these islands look pretty similar, you can actually see just how much already because it's significantly lower than...
This is ridiculous.
This one also has broad coastal lowlands, but significantly less of it because less mountain has eroded out to the sea. Our fifth island looks a lot like our fourth island, but again is taller. It is also an extinct volcano, but it just hasn't eroded as much yet. It's still tall enough that in the winter it gets snow-capped peaks, which melts in the spring and runs down these rivers and adds to these sort of big alluvial fans that are beginning to form here. Finally, our sixth and newest island. You guys might have saw a little sneaky. I did go in and make this reactive just for the sake of demonstration, but it went out. The candle went out, so I had to relight it. Oh shit, guys, Hawaii went out. Does anyone have a bit? This island is way bigger than the others. It has much more area that's covered in snow because it's a lot taller. Here, the forces of tectonics are currently winning against temporarily. You can see compared to the other islands, there's much less of sort of a sediment skirt and lowland around it because it has eroded. And another sort of a ridge over here, that's where the volcano went out. But I want you to look more at this side because this is a better representation, where the currently active volcano is not as much a ridge as much as it is sort of a broad shield volcano, as it were. By looking at these 6 simulations,
don't call her broad.
Real-world parallels in the actual Hawaiian Islands, I hope you're able to get sort of a better perspective on why and how Hawaii is the way that it is. When you look at a map, it's easy to be like, oh, it's Hawaii.
Why are you like this?
But in the world of geology, everything has a cause, and hopefully this allows you to see it a little bit more clearly. If you're interested more in sort of the development of the Hawaiian Islands, I didn't really go into biology at all with this, but I really recommend you check out Atlas' video on the biology of the Hawaiian Islands. It talks about how weird evolution is in somewhere that is so insanely isolated and different. And in my opinion, it might even be a little bit more interesting than the geological side of things here. But I'll put a link to that below, and I'll let you be the judge of it. So now, let's move on to the next one. Okay, for my next trick, I will build the Grand Canyon from scratch. For this map, I think we're going to stick with our large size, and we're going to have this one be sandstone layers. Okay, so for this one, I think we want kind of like a more or less flat plane with sort of a gentle gradient to it. We don't want it to be perfectly flat because the way that rivers end up picking their course are because of very small inconsistencies in the terrain. All right, so you can see our gradient a little better with this topographic display to just utilize our square as efficiently as possible. I think I want our highlands to be over in this corner and sort of the end of our river to be down in this
It's
corner.
like you would expect the tectonics would have made for the easier stuff to push around be on the top, and that's where the water was able to erode away because it had the easy route. But what actually happened? Fuck, I don't know.
Really strange. Perfect. For this one, we're going to get a little bit more detailed with our world set, customizing the rainfall across the map. Because again,
Ribbit.
most of this rain doesn't actually fall in the area of the Grand Canyon. It falls in the mountains far
Help.
away, and then it runs down. So the actual environment around the canyon is pretty arid. So
It has the runs.
down in our desert lands, we're going to have it be a little bit of rain. I'm trying to keep our rainiest areas concentrated to the most elevated areas. Places we catch passing, clouds and things like that. Whether it's talking about rain falls in the elevated peaks, we're gonna have all this level dry, and then up in our simulated Rocky Mountains, we're gonna have a lot. For the summer, we're
If 8 not.
very, very dry. With some parts of our canyon not getting any rain at all, and our Rocky Mountains are also going to get very dry.
Not 4-6.
So in the winter, we actually want a very
Not 4.
precipitation up in our Rocky Mountains, because then in the springtime, a huge amount of water will be released as the snow melts. Spring snow melt provides a huge amount of fresh water in places like Colorado and California, a lot of arid areas with big mountains sort of nearby. And I think that looks pretty good.
Iridias?
What I want to mess with is our temperature. You can actually customize the temperature
Iridia.
like quadrants of the map. We messed with this a lot when we were doing our video on the Antarctic pyramid to show how glaciers advance. But since here we've taken thousands of square miles and compressed it into a small sort of play area, I want to make sure that we're doing a good job simulating the temperature difference between the environments. I want there
Job
to be
simulating.
a bit of snow that stays at the top of the mountains in the summertime.
On the tops.
And let's adjust from the northwest to make it a bit.
Just on the northwest.
Southeast, we can make a lot hotter. We want it to be very, very arid. There.
Very hot south.
A little bit better. Alright, I like that. That feels realistic. Alright, let's see how this is going. It looks like we might be getting some glaciers that are a little bit too large. Yeah, that's much too large. Nothing a little global warming can't fix. Climate change. Alright, I think this is a good enough start. I might mess with some of the settings later, but for now, we're going to just start running this and let's see what happens. You'll see me tweaking a few things as this simulation begins to run. Since the mountains are where most of the rain
Bleh.
much faster than the rest of the map. To counteract this, I periodically make them a little bit taller, but all this erosion creates a huge amount of sediment. This is realistic, but since we're working on such a small
My
scale,
brain is like such a low FPS. I had so much sleep. This is the beginning of my day. So I haven't had any food, I guess? Or have I? Did I eat anything? I forget. Let's have some crackers. Maybe I need meat. I did have pizza pockets before I went to sleep in the middle of the day. The best of reasons.
I'm gonna let horizontal swimsuit while we're at it. Let's do this shit.
Not mine.
Deliciously lactose free.
Wait. That's not true. Huh? Man.
Wow, that's a big asphalt line. Maybe I didn't even think it's that big, but it's fun. You know what? I might even
Asphalt?
wake over here and see if we can divert some water from these mountains to run into our main river channels over here. Since the ice seemed to be eroding everything really quickly, I decided to raise global temperatures a little bit and raise up the mountains. You'll also notice that I decided to build a little mesa down at the bottom right section of the map. This is partly to keep water in and partly just to see how a structure like this erodes.
Help.
I decided to manually widen the canyon a little bit since it kept getting clogged with sediment. It took a few tries to get right, but it seemed like a wider canyon could transport more sediment so things flowed a little smoother. I went a little rogue here with our dirt removal brush, but you can kind of see some cool stuff starting to happen down at our old ephemeral lake. It got split by our earthquake, which created a lower area to the north that stays an ephemeral lake, but the area to the south that got uplifted is now high and dry and slowly begins to erode back into the landscape. Depending on how long this lake had been active for,
Huh.
find fossils from the ancient lake bed eroding out of this southern slope. Here I decided to increase rainfall around the map to encourage the growth of smaller tributary canyons. And if you look at our mesa in the bottom right, you'll notice some really nice realistic erosion beginning to happen. You can see how the canyons sort of radiate out from the center of the plateau, breaking it up into a series of buttes and mesas. The final iteration of this is like what you might see at Monument Valley, tiny isolated spires of rock that are all that remain of a once gigantic plateau. And finally, after 77,000 years, let's have a closer look at the environment that we've created. So we've seen quite a bit of change in our landscape here, both changes that I've sort of sprinkled in and the natural erosion processes. Obviously, again, this is a simulation, so it can never be as complex as actual geologic processes, but for a simulation, it did a pretty spectacular job. So down here at the outlet of our river, we have a broad sort of delta that I had to keep dredging in order to make everything work appropriately. And then we sort of have two canyons next to one another. We have the main branch here, which I sort of manually
What the hell?
a little bit following the shape of the river just to enhance the simulation.
The odds of that.
And on the west side of that, we have a canyon that just forms pretty much completely naturally. You can see in this game we don't really get the same step pattern to a canyon that we do in real life. This is because all of the stone in this game is the same hardness, which, side note, I hope in the future that you can adjust the hardness of the rock replace them. That would be very, very cool. But even though the sides of all of our canyons are very steep, you can see this beautiful fractal pattern that you see in all of the canyon environments. And remembering what we talked about earlier, that all of this sand
He likes having different amounts of hardness, guys.
It also looks like we've developed three major watersheds. There's this one up here in the northwestern mountains, a huge watershed in the northeastern mountains, and then I'm kind of split as to whether or not this is one or two bigger watersheds in this kind of little eastern range. We have one here that feeds into the main branch of the river kind of early on.
What the hell is this quaternary?
All the water from these mountains and this mesa
Is that a word?
drains it down into a little canyon into the main branch, almost down by the outlet. If we follow this little one that goes to our old ephemeral lake, you can actually see that it follows the path of the earthquake fault line, which is kind of cool. The other branch of these eastern mountains flows through a kind of cool, like, narrow stream over here. I bet there'd be some pretty crazy
Help.
rafting in there, and then eventually just spits out into our main channel. The main channel is mostly fed by snow melt and glaciers up in this huge chunk of mountains. Oh, look at that, we actually got a little glacial lake up here. That's cool. Something I'd love to see added into this game would be a water
Ah!
play. The huge amount of water coming out this middle channel makes a lot more sense when you actually look at just how many little tiny tributaries all feed into it. This little channel right here collects water not only from like up the map, but because of where the rainfall is, probably like, I don't know, 70% of the water that falls on the lake. Rivers come down the mountains into this sort of flat, lowland plain area, which has been formed over thousands of years by the sediment eroding from the mountains and carried down by the water itself. I want you guys to remember this central plain outside the mountains is going to be a big part of our next simulation. You can see this plain from an actual Rocky Mountain really well to the east. Then it enters our canyon, and here we're going to be
Oh.
watershed, which consists of a runoff from all of these mountains.
My god, how did I not remove that from the rest of the block?
I just realized there's actually a separate little watershed that comes from what looks like our tallest mountain. A little river that runs down here, goes through a nice little rapids,
That made things a little bit more obvious.
split. But again, it's a simulation. I'll give it some slack. It only splits seasonally, it looks like, because now it is winter and it's dried up. And then it runs down here, splits again by the looks of it, some of it draining down, and some of it continuing through this really cool canyon over here. Look at that. That actually worked very well. Some of the tributaries I didn't mess with and just more naturally look really, really good. The simulation is pretty good, but if I could nitpick, some of the things that it could probably do a little bit better are the rivers tend to be very straight, which is awesome. I don't really know how you change this, but you'll notice if you look at the Grand Canyons, all these crazy snaking patterns. A lot of that happens from a very micro scale, literally like a rivulet just moving around the rock, and it does it over and over and over. Before you know it, you have a gigantic chasm. Since there's so much sediment produced in this simulation, it's a little hard for it to kind of, create obstacles and stuff. Again, I cut it slack, it's totally fine. And then, of course, the biggest thing, it would be so cool if we could customize the hardness of the rock. Give us, like, your sedimentary, your igneous, and a little slider, for how hard you want it to be. I would maybe change the color a little bit so you can tell the difference. That would just be really cool and add sort of an extra layer to this. Alright, so with this understood, let's move on to our next location. Alright, the next landscape we're going to be looking at are the Appalachian Mountains, or the Appalachian Mountains, depending on which end of it you're at. I was born and raised in
The apple bottom jeans.
but the Appalachian end really doesn't like when I say it like that, so I'm going to stick with Appalachian. Gotta love our intra-mountain range pronunciation beef. Easily the biggest conflict the North and South have ever had. Alright, so for this one, we're going to play around a little bit.
It's more like a Pelican.
So this is a thing that you can do in your map creator, where it is exactly what it sounds like. You can make little continents here, show the direction you want.
That is not how it's spelled. Okay, that was abysmal. I hated that. That was grueling. It sucked. This sucked. Fuck you.